that the Illuminati actually exists. And is interviewing Kevin Hart when she starts talking about being offered major money for sketchy things. Pay attention to Kevin's response.
Dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And what? Just, you've been up, yeah. Oh, there's a...
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. I just want to thank all my supporters, man, who's coming back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man. Comment down below. I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
This woman got 0 prison time after stabbing her boyfriend 108 times. In 2018, 26-year-old Chad O'Melia's life was savagely taken in his apartment in California by his girlfriend. 33-year-old Bryn Spetcher says that on this day, she was tricked by Chad into smoking a highly potent strain of marijuana, which caused her to go into psychosis. She says that she remembers immediately walking into the kitchen and grabbing several knives and stabbed her dog before going after Chad and taking his life. Authorities also said that it wasn't easy restraining Bryn and that the taser didn't even work on her. Now, Bryn's defense argues that she reacted this way because she only smoked less than 6 times in her life, which that combined with the high potent marijuana explains why she took her boyfriend's life. Bryn ended up only receiving just 2 years of probation, 100 hours of community service, and no prison time.
This may be the most proof I've ever seen that the Illuminati actually exist. In this clip, Simon Lou starts talking about the Illuminati, and he turns his attention to Andrew Garfield, and notice what happens next.
Illuminati real? And if so, why haven't I been invited? Garfield, where are you? I know you know. I know you know.
Now let's look at that again. But that's nothing compared to this next one. Kelly Clarkson is interviewing Kevin Hart when she starts talking about being offered major money for sketchy things. Pay attention to Kevin's response.
Dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And what? Just, you've been up, yeah. Oh, there's a room.
It's almost like these actors know they shouldn't be talking about these things. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and follow for more creepy, dark, and interesting content.
Seekers, man. That was some evidence, man, that we can't ignore. I know the first one kind of like played it off, Simu and Andrew Garfield kind of played it off as like a joke or something like that. I don't know if they was at an award show or something, but the second one, I was like this, like it could tell, man. If you don't think there's some powerful people that influence, man, that has some money behind the scenes, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's just, at least I think that's what's happening.
A 16-year-old was shot by a homeowner after ringing the wrong doorbell. Ralph Jarl was picking up his twin brothers when he mistakenly went to the wrong house. His aunt explained how the teen was shot in the head twice before searching for help.
He ran to 3 houses before one of the neighbors said, "Put your hands up and lay on the ground."
The teen is known as a musical genius and is one of the top bass clarinet players in Missouri. Ralph is currently in hospital where he is now recovering from his injuries. The police released the alleged gunman from custody pending further investigation. The release did not sit well with the public, with civil rights attorney tweeting Ralph is fighting for his life. This man must be arrested. Hundreds of protesters have since turned up outside the alleged gunman's home on Sunday afternoon, demanding immediate justice. Police obtained the firearm that was used, but have explained their delay in bringing charges against the homeowner because they are waiting for the teen to make his own statement.
That's crazy, man. Stuff like that still happens in this world.
Believe it or not, this is a well-documented, true story. In 1947, an American ship picked up a horrifying distress signal coming from an unidentified vessel. The first transmission was all officers, including the captain, are dead. The next transmission was the whole crew is dead. The last transmission was I die, and then silence. The Americans trace the signal back to a ship that's drifting off in the middle of the Indian Ocean. They quickly assemble a rescue team who boards the ship. They find the entire crew has perished in the exact same position. They are on their backs with their hands up as if fighting with some unseen force, and they look like this. There was no physical damage to the bodies or to the ship itself. However, even though it was 100 degrees outside, it was 40 degrees on the ship, and the bodies were rapidly decomposing. As soon as they tie up the ship to tow it in, it explodes, and then it sinks. To this day, no one knows what happened inside of that ship. Some say it was a chemical leak, others aren't so sure.
What went down on that ship, man? Why was the temperatures like that? Rapidly decomposing? That sounds like a curse to me. Oh, he running, he booking it.
Blood-curdling facts that'll give you nightmares. Many doctors have said that the most common last words that they hear are, "I don't feel so good." Most of the laughing sound effects that you hear on TV shows were recorded in the 1950s, meaning that most of those people that you hear laughing are probably dead. During the French Revolution, it was said that the guillotine had to be used multiple times to get the job done. The reason why planes shut their lights off right before they land is so that the passengers' eyes can adjust to the dark just in case there's a crash. This is so that if the power goes off during the crash landing, they can better find an escape route.
Okay, never knew that.
Because everyone's talking about the possible serial killer in Grand Junction, Colorado, let me tell you about one of their most infamous murder cases. The Blaggs were a picture-perfect family of born-again Christians until November 13th, 2001, when Michael came home to a pool of blood. His wife Jennifer and 6-year-old daughter Abby missing. The back door was left open, Jennifer's purse was spilled out on the floor, and her jewelry was missing. But when authorities looked at the crime scene, something was off. If a stranger had broken into their home, why would they leave items of value behind, like guns and cash? And why would they move the bodies in Jennifer's van and return it to the family's garage? In May the following year, investigators start digging through the Mesa County landfill, and after removing 3,000 tons of trash, they find the mummified remains of Jennifer Blagg, wrapped in a tent and surrounded by trash from her husband's workplace. Michael was convicted for only his wife's murder in 2004, but 13 years later he got a second shot at freedom. It turns out a juror lied on her questionnaire about being a victim of DV. In 2018 he got the same result, life in prison without the possibility of parole. And despite being convicted twice, he refuses to reveal the location of his 6-year-old daughter Abby. It's believed her remains are still deep in the Mesa County landfill.
I'm gonna show you how to avoid making the same mistake that almost turned this man into a memorial. It's showing up. If your family was deleted by tigers and you want to see the species suffer, then yeah, you should definitely go to these places. For your business model to be touching a tiger, that means you gotta people-proof a whole predator, which they usually do by declawing, which is like cutting our fingers knuckle down. Defanging? Yeah, it's what you think. And they're constantly put on a flight higher than Snoop Dogg. Oh, but it gets worse. Tigersaurism also involves ripping a tiger cub away from its mother so early that its immune system gets nerfed from not getting enough mama's milk. The tigers are also stressed, like, all the time. They're just too deep in the sunken place to show you. But you peep out Buddy tried an attitude adjustment with that stick. They don't just make him motherless. A lot of these places will beat the tiger for hours with a stick until it breaks him, and they basically see the stick as a figure of authority. It's like the belt times 1,000. Anytime the tiger even looks out of line, he gets the discipline side of the stick. Low-key, they do the same to elephants, but that's another video. But pretty much, remember that trend of folks trying to flex tiger flicks on Tinder? Hopefully that's the closest they got to any cat. And they still had the drug. Of course, sometimes it wears off, and that's when you realize the reason we're the top of the food chain isn't a stick or a frickin' leash. Look, I ain't better than anybody. A couple years ago, I almost did one of those lion walking tours until I researched it and realized I value the lions more. And I'm sure they're not like all bad, but all I know is if you got a cat that murks the likes of that for a living, or that acting like a humbled house cat, make like a driver in the UK and look left, cause sh ain't right. The more you know.
2 years ago, in September 2023, I posted a video that went viral and then was quickly muted on social media. Today, I will tell you what that video was about, and you'll understand why it was muted. 24 years ago, Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of Defense in the United States, gave a press conference. He talked about transactions worth $2.3 trillion that have gone missing.
Our financial systems are decades old. According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
The very next day, a forensic audit team with the support of accountants were investigating the missing $2.3 trillion. Before the money tracing started, a plane hit the tower the accountants were in, and it killed them all. That day was September 11th.
As we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know.
Now this could be classified as a conspiracy theory, but damn, What a coincidence.
That's eerie. Where is he at?
We need to talk about pedophile symbols in children's movies and books for a second. So these are symbols that the FBI in the past has claimed that pedophiles use to communicate with each other. This is a known thing, and there are actually people who belong to these groups who have come out and stated that yes, these groups do align with these symbols. So take a good look, especially up here to the left. So these are some screenshots from the children's film Alina of Avalor. Do you notice any symbols right here on one of the characters? Well, some of the other symbols from that sheet are found on another one of the characters in the film. Then there's the movie The Mighty Ducks, where one of the characters' helmets not only has one of those symbols, it actually has both of them. Same character, same helmet. I mean, that's pretty strange, right? There's also the film The Flight of the Navigator, where you can clearly see this same symbol being used again and again throughout the film. And these same symbols can also be found on diapers, you can see them clearly right there, on CDs that are clearly produced for and marketed towards children, interactive books made for children like these, and they can even be observed as far back as in Pinocchio. So, what do you think? Is this all just one big coincidence? Are these commonly used symbols? Or are these symbols seen in children's films and media for a reason? I don't know, maybe it was an animator that had certain proclivities themselves that wanted to brag to people that would recognize this, that they had gotten away with getting a job working near children. Or maybe it's all just a coincidence.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. 3 of the most influential horror movies of all time are Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, The Silence of the Lambs, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But did you know all of these movies were loosely based off of one man? Real-life serial killer Ed Gein, or Gain, I don't know how to say it. He was known to skin his victims alive, and it's believed that he had several victims, but he only got convicted for 2 of them. But despite only being convicted of 2 murders, when authorities went to his house and checked his farm shed, they found an alarming amount of bodies. Now I think we can all agree that one of the most normal basic fears that a human being can have is death. Enter Cotard syndrome. Cotard syndrome is a syndrome where people truly believe they are dead. They'll be completely functioning, perfectly healthy human beings, but their mind has tricked them into thinking that they are the dead walking among the living. And it could happen to any of you. And finally, Victorian photos have a dark secret. But before I get into that, make sure you guys check out my bio for a sweet surprise. If you see any photos from the olden days, you'll notice that they might be slightly blurry and it'll be rare to see people smiling in them. This is because it took a very long time for photos to be taken back in that day, so people didn't want to be smiling for 10 minutes straight. And the blurriness was because people would move from time to time while the picture was being taken. If you look at any of these old photos and you notice someone in the photo looks extremely clear, chances are they are dead. It was a very common practice in the olden days to take photos with dead people to have one last photo with them taken. So they would post up the corpse along with them and have a photo be taken. But obviously their bodies wouldn't move, so this would cause them to appear much clearer in these photos. Absolutely sickening. And look, I know that one was kind of rough, and typically all my videos are rough, but that's why.
That's crazy.
Once you hear why he did this, it will change the way you look at strangers. In 2018, a woman was out for a walk in the blistering cold when she saw a teen girl coming towards her wearing just pajamas and oversized shoes. Turns out it was 13-year-old missing person Jamie Close, and boy did she have a terrifying story to tell. 87 days earlier, a man had broken into her home in the middle of the night, killed her parents, and then taken her prisoner. He brought her 70 miles away to his house, where she was kept under a bed and largely forgotten about. She was just there for no apparent reason. When her captor left one night, she managed to escape, and that's when she ran into this woman on the road. Jamie's captor, 21-year-old Jake Patterson, was quickly found, and he immediately confessed. And this is why he did it. On his way to work one day, he stops behind a school bus and he sees a girl get on. He doesn't know anything about her, and he decides, I'm going to kill her family and I'm going to take her. He had no motive, he had no criminal history. This was truly random.
His life was taken by police officers for wanting to see the same movie twice. 26-year-old Robert Ethan Saylor was from Frederick County, Maryland. Ethan was described as a fun-spirited young man who adored police officers, loved reggae music, and the show NCIS. On January 12th of 2013, Ethan went to the movie theater with his caregiver to go see the movie Zero Dark 30. Once the movie was over, his caregiver left him in the lobby while she went to go get the car. Ethan went back to the theater to watch the movie again. An employee saw Ethan re-enter the theater and told him that he needed to buy another ticket or leave. Ethan did not understand why she wanted him to leave the theater, nor did he have any money with him. Ethan ignored the employee and used his phone to try and understand the situation better. The staff member then called mall security to try and remove Ethan. 3 off-duty officers were working as mall security that day, and they responded to the movie theater. Once Ethan's caregiver was back at the theater, she told management to tell officers that Ethan had Down syndrome and if she could be with him. They refused, but she asked them not to touch him because he might freak out. But the theater staff and officers ignored the caregiver. Instead, officers approached Ethan while he was in the movie theater along with 20 other people waiting to watch their movie. Officers told Ethan that he needed to leave the theater, but he refused, he started cussing, and he threw a temper tantrum. Those 3 officers forcibly removed Ethan from his seat and tried to put him into handcuffs. There was a struggle, and officers threw Ethan to the ground on his stomach. One officer placed his knee on Ethan's back and fell forcibly on top of him. Ethan was crying and screaming, saying, "Mommy, it hurts," and then the room fell silent. The officers had handled Ethan so violently that they crushed his larynx, which is a part of the throat. Ethan was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. An autopsy revealed that Ethan had suffered from bruising and abrasions to his face and body and a fracture in his throat cartilage. A forensic pathologist stated that this only occurs with force and included in cases of manual strangulation. The grand jury failed to indict the 3 officers in any wrongdoing. They returned to work as normal and returned to their life as normal. Meanwhile, Ethan's family were grieving the loss of him, but they ended up filing a lawsuit against those 3 officers, and they were given a $1.9 million settlement.
I don't think Amy Bradley fell overboard, and
Insane.
here's why. And I know there are a ton of theories out there, but this is just my opinion. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the new Netflix documentary left out one very important detail that they once mentioned on Unsolved Mysteries. So really quick side note, if Unsolved Mysteries had a #1 fan, I would definitely be it. I have no word of a lie. I've been watching this show since I've been 11 years old. Now back to Amy. Her story first aired on Unsolved Mysteries on January 1st, 1998. I'm not even joking when I say that I've probably watched each episode of Unsolved Mysteries about 1,000 times. So when I say that this fact sticks in my head, I mean it. So apparently bright and early the next morning, the bass player went up to Brad, which is Amy's brother, and told him, "Hey Brad, I'm really sorry to hear about your sister." And what's really odd about that, and that's why it never left my mind, is because nobody knew that Amy was even missing except for security and her own family. For reference, here's the clip.
That morning, only the Bradley family and the ship's security knew Amy was missing. But according to Amy's brother, so did the bass player.
Hey Brad, I'm sorry to hear about your sister. I feel badly, I know you.
That's a really odd thing to say that early in the stages of this thing, you know. Nobody knew except for us, or my family and I, and security, that something may be wrong.
To this day, I still get chills when I watch that clip, and the fact that they included his daughter in the new Netflix documentary and even she is suspicious of him makes me feel like either he did something or he didn't do something, but he definitely knows something. Let me know your own thoughts in the comments. And also, was that fact mentioned in the new Netflix documentary? Because I watched it a couple times and I don't know if I just keep missing it. I didn't think it was included. I'm gonna leave you with one more thing. I used to go on a lot of cruises as a child. I was very blessed, and a lot of them were Royal Caribbean, and I am just flabbergasted at the way that they handled this case, because being on those cruises, if there was an emergency, I clearly remember that they would always make a page no matter how early it was. Just don't get what went on in this case, and I feel really sorry for the family.
I've never been on a cruise before, but like I said, the fact that the family knew, and they said the police or security only knew, so how did he know? Yeah,
5 members of the DuPont de Ligonnès family were found buried under the patio of the family home in Nantes.
It was basically a large grave that had multiple bodies inside of it. One was a middle-aged woman. The other remains belonged to 2 boys who were either in their late teens or their early 20s. And then there was one girl in her teens. They were 3 out of 4 of Xavier's children here in this grave, this makeshift grave in the backyard. The girl had to be 16-year-old Anne, and the boys were eventually determined to be 12-year-old Benoit and 21-year-old Arthur. There were also 2 dogs in this same mass grave. These were the family pets. So all of them, including the dogs, had visible bullet wounds. The police could tell how they all died without even needing to order an autopsy. And they were also all still wearing pajamas, almost like they had been killed in their sleep. The question, of course, that everybody was wondering in this moment was who would do this? Who would want to hurt the entire family? Well, there were 2 bodies that were still missing from this makeshift grave, and one of them was the second oldest son, 18-year-old Thomas. However, it didn't take the police very long to figure out what had happened to Thomas, or for them to realize that he really wasn't the one responsible here for this brutal murder, because he was also shot, wrapped in sheets and plastic, and then buried out back. But now they were starting to get answers. They knew that the family had been killed, and they also knew that there was one person missing. One person who, to all appearances, had not been murdered. And that was the father, Xavier.
This case is one that I cannot stop thinking about. The unsolved murder of Brittany Stykes. On August 28, 2013, 22-year-old Brittany Stykes and her 14-month-old daughter were found in Brown County, Ohio. Brittany and her daughter were last known to be heading to her father's home to celebrate his birthday, driving in Brittany's yellow Jeep along US 68 in Georgetown. The Jeep was found parked in an embankment on the side of the road, and inside, both Brittany and her daughter had been shot. Miraculously, Brittany's daughter survived despite being shot in the head, but unfortunately, Brittany did not. Brittany was also pregnant at the time of her murder, so this is classified as a double homicide. 2 bullets hit Brittany and several struck the driver's side door of the vehicle, but there was no gunshot residue found, meaning she had not been shot at close range. One initial potential suspect was Brittany's husband, Shane. Shane said he was working out at a gym 15 minutes away when his wife and daughter were shot, and he has maintained his innocence, and he has actually never been officially named a suspect. And in fact, he was questioned and his hands were tested and found no sign of gunpowder residue. There have been many tips and potential leads over the years, including a woman in 2015 claiming that she knew who killed Brittany and that it was a hit that someone took out on her. But this couldn't be confirmed, and Brittany's case went cold. There is so much more to this case, and you can learn all about it in Season 2 of the true crime podcast, Culpable, which takes a deep dive into Brittany's case. Host Dennis Cooper interviews her family and friends in the podcast, and they explore the entirety of the case over the last 12 years. You can listen to Culpable wherever you get your favorite podcasts. But Brittany and her daughter both deserve justice, and this case just gets crazier as you find out more. And that's why...
In 1979, a teenage girl accepts a babysitting job at an isolated home in the Minnesota woods. After putting the children to bed, she settles on the couch to watch TV, only to be startled by a phone call. She picks it up and hears heavy breathing, when suddenly a man's unsettling voice asks, "Have you checked on the children?" Nervous, she dismisses it as a prank and hangs up. 15 minutes later, the phone rings again. This time the voice asks, "Why haven't you checked on the children?" Panic sets in and she calls 911. The operator advises her to keep the caller on the line if they call back, allowing the call to be traced. Moments later, the phone rings again, and the voice snarls, "Check on the children now." Trembling, she keeps the call connected as instructed. Once more the phone rings. The operator's voice crackles through, urgent and frantic. "Get out of the house. The calls are coming from upstairs." Terrified but worried about the children, she hesitates before fleeing outside. She bolted out of the house, her heart pounding in her chest. There, a tall man stepped out of the shadows, his presence looming as he stared her down with a chilling intensity, and he asked in a cold, menacing voice, "Why didn't you check on the children?"
Others have been found passed away here in eastern Kentucky in Airbnb and a hotel room, both rented out by this guy. On June 27th, Rochelle Dawson went missing after going for a walk around 3:30 p.m. They live in like a really rural area, like they lived on a one-lane road out in the woods. Stepson couldn't find her, so her boyfriend Caleb texted her and said that he was going to Walmart. She didn't text back, which was really weird because she always texts back or returns calls. Caleb is actually my boyfriend's friend. This is all happening here in my hometown and in like the surrounding counties. He couldn't get a hold of her. He contacted police and her sister. Police were able to track her location to the Red Roof Inn in Winchester through the Find My Phone app that a family member had provided. During the police investigation, they had found out that 44-year-old Brian P. Epperson was the one who rented the hotel room at the Red Roof Inn in Winchester. He was also connected to another woman, 32-year-old Kristen Morris, who was found on May 31st, an Airbnb that Epperson had rented on Patsy Mountain. It's technically in Stanton, but pretty much in my hometown. He was arrested pretty quickly after they found Rochelle. He was only charged with possession. Both of these mothers passed away from ingesting too many controlled substances. I have to be careful with what I say on here or this video will get taken down. Go look up the news articles. All you gotta do is search Brian Epperson or Rochelle Dawson or Kristen Morris and any of this will pop up. You'll be able to read all the details there. But Rochelle wasn't a drinker. She didn't smoke. She had never done any controlled substances before. That was very out of character for her. I don't know about the other girl, but I'm assuming the same can be said for her. She's now been charged with connection to the Kristen Morris case. Winchester PD did put out a statement saying that he was the prime suspect in Rochelle Dawson's investigation. Hopefully charges will be brought forth on him for that soon too. More people need to be talking about this. I mean, this is so close to home. This could have happened to any of us. It could have been me, it could have been you. Please share this video to spread awareness, make your own video, whatever it takes. You can also find a lot more details that's not listed on any of the news channels on her boyfriend's Facebook page, which is right here. Also bad for him and his son. I cannot even imagine what they're going through. His son had just lost his mother recently and now he's lost his stepmother too. She also raised and took care of her niece like she was her own daughter. Kristen Morris was a mother too. It's just so sad. Hopefully he has to spend the rest of his life in jail.
Just a sad case all around, man.
This movie caused at least 4 deaths in real life. In 1973, a new genre was introduced to the world, a proper horror movie called The Exorcist. Not only did it terrify viewers, but it also left a horrifying mark on its cast and crew. This movie is known to be the most cursed movie of all time. These actors, Jack McGowan, who played Burke Dennings, and actress Vasiliki Maliaros, who played Kara's mother, both died shortly after filming their scenes. These deaths were only the beginning of the strange occurrences. A mysterious fire broke out on set, destroying a home, and actress Ellen Burstyn sustained a permanent spinal injury during a stunt gone wrong, and Linda Blair, who played Regan, was also injured during filming. But you see, none of these injuries were actually technical or mechanical faults. Ellen was violently pulled by a harness until she broke her back, and no one knows what pulled her. And what's even more unsettling is the set's night security guard and another person who's the special effects expert both died during production. But not only that, this curse seemed to follow the film into theaters, where people reported a mysterious fire destroying a movie theater that was about to premiere The Exorcist movie in December of 1973. The movie theater burst in flames the night it was supposed to premiere the movie. These real-life horrors surrounding The Exorcist movie have cemented its legacy as one of the most cursed films in Hollywood history, leaving many to wonder if the demons depicted on screen might have been more than just fiction. Because they're not. It's real life. These are real demons that we're talking about. There were also multiple delays during filming because while the movie was being filmed, a lot of crew members reported relatives dying. People from the crew had people from their families also die during production. The following months after the premiere, January 1974, February 1974, multiple viewers reported bad things happening in their homes after watching this movie for the first time. When you piss jinns off, things like this can happen. And there's one thing they really don't like. Don't tell their stories.
That sounds like a cursed movie right there. Why is she looking at us like that? Back up.
No is trying to end your life. This hidden camera captures a moment this woman puts bleach inside her husband's coffee maker multiple times a day. This is Robbie Johnson, and he began setting up cameras all around his house when he started to notice that his coffee was tasting a little off. He wasn't really expecting to catch anything, but when he looked back at the footage, he was shocked. His wife Melody is seen pouring a substance inside his coffee maker every single day before he brewed the coffee. Robbie got testing strips, and each time it tested positive for chlorine. At this time, Robbie and Melody were in the process of a divorce, but they were still living together. Robbie pretended to drink his coffee every morning and continued to gather evidence so that he can go to police. But when he showed police all this footage, they said that they couldn't see exactly what Melody was pouring into the coffee maker, so he couldn't prove it. So Robbie had to set up even more cameras around the house with different angles so that he can prove that Melody was in fact poisoning him. Melody was charged with attempted murder, and I bet this guy will never let anyone else make him a coffee again.
That would.
It's not something that's terribly new, but have you heard about the woman that is haunting AI pictures, sees the face, and nobody can explain why she keeps showing up in AI images? If you look at her, she's not really general. I mean, there are specific characteristics even that are consistent. Again, nobody knows which prompts are generating this woman. Nobody knows why her face continues to appear in different models. So this has opened up one of my favorite questions about the idea that AI pictures can be haunted. And don't forget, if things like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check out the podcast. Katy Perry is coming under fire because her upcoming album, it features Dr. Luke. But a lot of people don't know that Katy Perry is allegedly trapped by Dr. Luke. Apparently, there is a lot going on behind the scenes that many people are not aware of. Little history here. Katy Perry was dropped by Columbia Records back in 2006. 2007, she signed with Capitol Records in 2007 at the age of 22.
Ooh.
Part of that deal was that she was going to sign a 6-album production deal with Dr. Luke. Dr. Luke ended up doing her first 2 albums. He did One of the Boys, he did Teenage Dream, and they were massively successful albums, and he began to work on Prism. So Prism came out, and it was extremely successful, and allegedly it's around this time that Luke's services as a producer were bought out by Sony, but he included a clause that he was still going to be able to honor and finish out his 6-album deal with Katy Perry. And it was also around this time that Kesha came forward with the accusations against Dr. Luke. Then came this leak. Allegedly, this is a text exchange between Kesha and Lady Gaga around the time of the accusations, which also alleged that Dr. Luke had assaulted Katy Perry and she was stuck with him. So then we got the release of Witness, which did not feature Dr. Luke at all. And people sort of thought that she would never work with him again, but she had only fulfilled 3 of the 6 contracted albums. Legal predicament here is that Katy Perry signed her deal at 22 and she is now 39, and if she wants to continue having a career in music, she is legally bound to finish out the remaining 3 albums.
Is that why, like I said, I don't remember, didn't we hear like a couple of months ago how like she showed Katy Perry, she showed her old catalog or something for like a ridiculous amount of money. But now I guess she's trying to get back into the music scene, but she's stuck with that, I guess, producer, man. She has to make 3 more with him. See, because, man, it goes to show you gotta watch. When you sign a contract, you gotta read the fine print, because you never know who you're gonna get stuck with. Gotta be fully prepared, man, for those consequences. That's crazy that she's stuck with that producer, Luke. Ooh. The hell is that? Where's this guy? Headache.
I'm the bad guy.
Damn. Warhol. Woo. Won't want to get bit by one of those. That's common
You're not
knowledge.
gonna believe what this guy accidentally caught on camera. Watch carefully.
Going so fast. You can barely see.
Did y'all see that? It's a pale humanoid figure lurking in the background. Roman countered like Slender Man or something. Let me know what you guys think this is in the comments below.
So you
I need out the guy's theories.
believed to be human remains near a neighborhood, and your first thought is to take those human remains to Goodwill. That's what happened in Anderson, South Carolina yesterday, June the 23rd, 2024. It is reported that an individual stumbled across what is believed to be human remains in a gravel lot located in or near a high-end subdivision called Grayland in Anderson, South Carolina. And instead of calling law enforcement, this individual takes those human remains to Goodwill, who then calls law enforcement.
Why?
Law enforcement does believe these remains to be human. They are searching a wooded area that is said to be in a new development in this subdivision, Grayland, in Anderson, South Carolina. They have also called in an anthropologist from Spartanburg County who is assisting in the case, and the remains have been sent to the FBI for DNA identification. As more information becomes available, I'll share it here, so go ahead and hit the follow button. If you are not already following, there are 6 different people listed in NamUs who are missing from the Anderson, South Carolina area. I'm not going to list those individuals here because I don't want it to look like I'm speculating that these remains could be one of those individuals. You can do your own research on that.
Nasty.
That's insane. You can find some human remains and their first thought is to take it to Goodwill, man. That goes to show you how people, they don't be using their minds sometimes. See something like that, man, you just call the police, bro. You don't take it in a Goodwill. What the hell are they supposed to do with it? They're just gonna be just as confused and disgusted by it as you. People down there, you serious?
Fast food facts you didn't want to know. There's most likely other people's poop in your fast food drinks.
What?
Scientists tested samples from Burger King, McDonald's, and KFC and discovered that most of the drinks had traces of fecal coli in them. That's poop particles. Although regulation says that your drink should have 0% of poop, samples from different KFCs and Burger Kings had significant amounts. That poses a serious threat to diners. Fountain machines were tested too, and they had about 11% of E. coli. Some restaurants rarely clean their ice machines, and some restaurant workers that handle your ice don't wash their hands. Hope you have fun drinking poop. Like this video if you want a part 2.
I ain't drinking no more from all those restaurants listed. Fast food, make your drink at home.
In 2014, a man named Martin took this picture of his daughter in Japan. It wasn't until later that he discovered an eerie thing about this photo. When the photo was taken, there was no man standing behind his daughter, yet it appears that there is. Again, if you look closely, you can see a man standing directly behind his daughter. People believe that this is a ghost of a samurai or a World War II soldier. He just happened to catch it on camera while trying to take this cute and innocent photo of his daughter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you believe that this is real?
First games you should never play. Part 14, the Dry Bones game. This game could get you anything you can dream of, but you're putting yourself at risk for losing your mind, being killed, or worse. To prepare, close all the doors and windows in your house, and then turn off all the lights. Begin at exactly 12:01. Go into your bathroom and look into the mirror. Make sure everything is silent. If you hear anything, he is already there. Think of something you want. This will be your prize if you win. Strike a match and wait for it to burn out on its own. If it lasts more than 15 seconds, you may continue. Lie down on the floor and recite these words. I am aware of your presence and I welcome you into my home. Go into the biggest room in your house and wait. To know that the game is officially started, you will hear a moan. If you hear anything else, abort. Once you hear this, run to your hiding spot and stay there, but remain completely silent. Remain in this place until 3 a.m. Once this time comes, go back to the biggest room in your house and say thank you for playing, but you must leave now. You are no longer welcome. If you did this right, you will hear another groan signifying that you won, and your prize will be at the door.
What's good? Today we continue our series going over the most evil children to ever exist. And the ones I got for you today are, these kids need help.
Okay.
First up on the list, we have Robert Thompson and John Venables. These two kids right here, wow. In the winter of 1993, these two kids became the youngest convicted murderers in the history of England. On February 12, 1993, these two young boys abducted young James Bulger, a 2-year-old, at a shopping mall. And here's the picture of them walking away with the 2-year-old. They then took the boy to a railroad track where they would beat him senseless with an iron bar. The last one we're going to be talking about today is Lionel Tate. On July 28, 1999, Lionel Tate's mother was babysitting a 6-year-old girl. Lionel's mother eventually went upstairs to go watch TV and left the young girl downstairs with Lionel, and this would prove to be a fatal mistake. Lionel continuously stepped on the girl's head and then went upstairs and tried to say it was a wrestling accident.
Nah. That young? This goes to show you even back then, man, how the world was a dark place.
Creepy people who were caught on camera PT.1. Creepiest home.
You saw how the way they was at? Like, nah, that's why they were aware they surrounded us, because that guy was asking some weird questions. Just trying to lurk around in the background. Can't even go out and have a good time no more without, you always have to be constantly aware, because weirdos out like that exist.
Camera footage PT.3.
Was it in a room no more? Damn. It's eerie. How the hell he get in the house? That's the real question we need to be asking.
The new horror movie Smile 2 just came out. And if you remember in 2022, the movie Smile went so viral that literally everyone was talking about it. So I really hope that the sequel will be good because we've been waiting. But I haven't seen the trailer yet, so let's watch it together.
Alright.
Huh?
You back.
What? No, 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 go away from me! What? What is it? Go away from me!
Louis?
Oh crap. Damn.
Something really crazy is happening to me. I keep seeing this face everywhere.
You witnessed a death.
got? Want me to sign it?
This is one of the most disgusting and evil cases I've ever heard. In February of 2013 in the Bronx, New York, a man was walking his dog at around 4 a.m. when his dog began to sniff around and led the man to a pile of trash bags that were left on the curb. As the man got closer, he realized that there was an awful smell coming from the bags that were sitting on the curb. So he decided to investigate, and lo and behold, he discovered that the bags were full of dismembered body parts. The man then decided to call the police, and after further investigation, the police found multiple different bags full of more dismembered body parts scattered across the city. It would then be discovered that the dismembered body parts would belong to a 45-year-old at-home caregiver by the name of Tanya Bird. Her body parts were placed in multiple heavy-duty trash bags containing everything from her torso to her shoulders to even her head. But guys, if only that was the worst part. You see, police then moved on to contact Tanya's son, Basim McLean, in which he responded that he believed that his mom's abusive ex-boyfriend was the one behind the killing of his mother. But little did the police know that that was not the case. As part of the investigation, police decided to go through Basim McLean's phone to see if he had any connection with his mom's murder. And lo and behold, they discovered a picture of McLean smiling in a selfie while holding his mom's decapitated head in his left hand. Yes, this is the picture of McLean holding his mom's decapitated head like it's a trophy. And of course it's blurred because we're not going to show the actual picture on here. After this, though, he was actually sentenced to 25 years in prison. But wait, it gets crazier. You see, years prior, before he was arrested, Basim McLean was actually married to a woman named Vera McLean, in which him and her had a 4-year-old son together. And about a year into McLean's prison sentence, he gets a call while in jail that his ex-wife, Vera McLean, is being charged with murder after beating their 4-year-old son to death with a broomstick. She was then sentenced to 17 years in prison. So one of them killed their mother, dismembered her body, and then flaunted her head in a selfie, and the other one beat their son to death with a broomstick. That's a pretty twisted couple, if you ask me.
Like, madness just went through that whole freaking family line. So the son.
Have you guys heard about the disturbing murder of the 3 Girl Scouts? This is the unsolved murder case of 9-year-old Michelle Gus, 10-year-old Doris Milner, and 8-year-old Lori Farmer. On June 12, 1977, 140 Girl Scouts ages 8 to 18 went to Camp Scott in Oklahoma for 2 weeks. Camp Scott was super popular in the town, but in 1977, nobody was prepared for what was going to happen. The very first night that the girls went to sleep in their tents, Lori, Michelle, and Doris slept together in Tent 8. The next morning at 6 a.m., a counselor found the lifeless bodies of the 3 young girls a short distance from their tent. All 3 girls had been sexually assaulted and badly beaten. Lori and Michelle had been bludgeoned while Doris was strangled to death. Now get this, 2 months before the trip, a training session was held at Camp Scott and something very alarming happened. A counselor's cabin was ransacked and a disturbing note was found in an empty box of donuts. The note said, "We are on a mission to kill 3 girls in Tent 1. Even though this note was strange and upsetting, the camp administrators dismissed the entire thing as a prank. The night the 3 girls were murdered, a camp counselor remembered hearing strange moaning, so she got up and looked around but didn't find anything unusual. The main suspect was an escaped convict that police were desperately looking for, and his name is Gene Leroy Hart. He had been convicted of kidnapping and sexually assaulting 2 pregnant women in the past. Gene was captured 10 months later, but regardless of all the evidence found against him, he was not found guilty by the jury. When Gene was sent back to prison for his original crime, he collapsed and died from a heart attack just 2 months later. A chilling statement was made by Doris's 5-year-old little sister just minutes before she left to the camp. Doris's little sister asked their mom, "Mommy, what happens when people die?" And their mom tried to explain what happens after death. And that's when the little sister responded with, "Yeah, but everyone's gonna die tomorrow." I don't know about you guys, but that is super creepy. These murders remain some of the state's most disturbing unsolved cases.
And those camping trips, I remember there was like a little. I think I remember when I was a kid how our school used to go on those camping trip as well, but I wasn't a fan of them. I was always opted out. I said, nah, they ain't for me. I just don't trust them. Even as a kid, I wasn't trusting nobody. It's a tragic case, man.
Jeffrey Epstein lived in this house in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and it's been stated that this is the largest private residence in New York. While Epstein was alive, he was visited at this house by a number of famous politicians and celebrities, including infamously Prince Andrew, who claimed nothing happened while he was there. I think the artwork on the house is a little eerie, to say the least, and I'm sure it's symbolic in its own way. Now, multiple bodyguards and people have gone on the record and said that inside of Epstein's house, there was a brain room, or a room filled floor to ceiling with security monitors. This would mean that every single inch of Jeffrey Epstein's house was being videotaped or photographed at every moment. And still to this day, there are tons of cameras on the exterior. I myself was a little freaked out after standing in front of this house, knowing that I was just captured on like 5 different angles. But this would mean that all of the trafficking, the assaults against minors that happened in this house, all of that was caught on camera. And that's true, it was, because Epstein was running a blackmail operation. It's too much to get into now, but if you want to hear me expose the true story, you can listen to the first episode of my show,
Facts that will ruin your life. A different version of you exists in the minds of everyone who knows you. Nighttime is the natural state of the universe. Daytime is only caused by a nearby radiating ball of flame. The word mortgage comes from a French term that means death pledge, or a contract that only expires upon death. Over 50% of commercial pilots have all admitted to falling asleep while flying a plane. The sun may have exploded, and we wouldn't know it for at least 8 minutes. Hit the plus sign if these disturbed you.
The fact about the mortgage is basically saying it's come from a death term.
Here are some things that are completely normal during the day but really creepy at night. Digging holes in your backyard. I mean, it's your backyard and you're entitled to do whatever you want to it, but if I see you digging some holes in the middle of the night, I'm gonna be really concerned. Bonus creepy points if you have some trash bags next to you too. I feel bad for people who work graveyard shifts or are night owls because it makes it difficult to do any gardening or landscaping without looking pretty creepy. They say a child's laughter is one of the most beautiful sounds in the world, but not if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Scary movies have absolutely ruined the sound of a child laughing for me, because most instances, I'm gonna assume the worst. And for some reason, little girls laughing are even more scary. Like, imagine being in the woods camping and you hear some little girl laughing in the distance. My brain isn't gonna think, oh cool, some family must be camping near us. No, I'm gonna think that I'm gonna get murdered or possessed by some demon. Someone knocking on your door during the day, it's annoying. Who the fuck is showing up at my house unannounced? It must be a salesman or worse, Mormons. That same knock at 3 in the morning? No, I'm getting murdered for sure. I'm on the 2nd floor, and my only way out is to jump out the window, so I'm done for.
People you never knew existed. This is Josephine Myrtle, and she was born with 4 legs and 2 sets of genitals. Despite having these conditions, she got married and had 5 kids. These are the only 2 men in the world who can speak the Ayapeneco language in Mexico. But they don't talk to each other because they have beef. Doctors were left stunned when this man came into the hospital complaining about chest pain. After a couple of scans, they realized he had 2 hearts. Jill Price has perfect memory of her life, and if you ask her what she ate for breakfast 20 years ago, she would get it right.
I think the thing that got me the most was when the girl, woman who had like 5 sets of freaking legs and genitals. Man, it's freaking mind blowing out here, bro. These people, man, you think wouldn't exist. It's like they're coming out of a freaking video game or something like that. Extraordinary people in this world. You gotta expand your mind.
What could be more terrifying than the thought of your own body setting itself on fire? For hundreds of years, this phenomenon has been the subject of scientific scrutiny as well as deep mystery. Spontaneous human combustion. This is when the human body appears to ignite internally, a fire starting from within before the entire body becomes engulfed. This actually dates all the way back to the 1600s, and since then there have only ever been about 200 cases reported worldwide. In 1984, a scientific team was assembled led by Joe Nickell to investigate a number of these cases dating back to the 1800s. One of the unusual threads that was found between all of these cases was that with every body investigated, there seemed to be some trace of alcohol in the system. This gave way to the Wick theory, suggesting that if alcohol was in the system and there was some kind of a chemical change that could ignite a fire, body fat could be used as an accelerant, making the mystery of this phenomenon one you should think about next time you're drinking.
That's why I don't even drink.
Is this a coincidence? Tree stump. Fingerprints.
Similar.
Tree branch. Human lungs. Leaf veins. Human veins.
Some chilling similarities.
Tree of life. Human placenta. Grass. Human hair. Tree roots. Human veins. River network. Human veins. Tree roots. Human nervous system. Corn plant. Human spine.
Let me find out.
You were today years old.
Don't tell me we're just basically more evolved a version of a tree, man. The tree branches and the lugs, man. And they look similar. That's the grass and the human hair. It was eerie similar, bro. One time we were just basically a more evolved version of a tree.
Old when you found these out. If you want to heat up some food at night, microwaves have a silent mode. To activate the silent mode, all you have to do is hold down the 1 button. So you're driving a car and you need gas, but you don't know which side the tank is on. If you look on the dashboard, there's an arrow next to the gas tank indicating which side the gas tank is on. Surprisingly, the drawer under the oven isn't used to hold pots and pans. It's made to keep your food warm until you're ready to eat.
Wow.
Airplane windows actually have little holes in them to prevent the windows from fogging. These candies are called lifesavers because if a child accidentally chokes someone, they will still be able to breathe because of the hole in the middle.
Now I know where the name come from. What was the one that was a weird name for a candy? Lifesavers. Is this an added seekers? Trees walking. Now, come on now.
Don't freak out, but this bug lives on your face. Demodex mites dig face first inside your pores. But don't freak out, they're harmless. They just eat your grease and dead skin on your face. But there is one thing you should be worried about. Don't cry, but they do wake up in the middle of the night to mate on your face. Yeah, now you know. But they're harmless. And they live on all of you. Live with it. Like if you want a part 2 of things you don't know that live on your body.
That my face right now? What the hell, bro?
This is what we know about the awful case of 16-year-old Shelby Binney. Shelby was a cheerleader at Bixby High School, and on Thursday night, her family was on their way home with her dad behind the wheel. He had reportedly been drinking, and according to her mom, they were also having a heated argument up in the front seat. At 70 miles per hour, he tried to pass another vehicle in a no-passing zone, and their SUV flipped. As we know, Shelby was tragically ejected from her family's vehicle on impact. A bystander immediately ran over to the scene, but there aren't even words for what happened next. Shelby's father was reportedly standing disoriented just outside of the crashed car, and when asked if anyone was hurt, he ran away. He left his 16-year-old daughter there to die on the pavement. Now, according to police, they were able to determine that Elliot had fled to a local family-owned business, and it was there that he got access to another car. They were able to electronically track that vehicle, and within 12 hours, they found him behind the wheel in a town about an hour away. It was obviously too late to give him a DUI test, but he was taken into custody. With Elliot's arrest, we know that while he tried to tell police he skidded on an oil spot, he's also admitted to taking a few swigs of the vodka bottle that was found in the front seat. Today, Elliot is charged with first-degree manslaughter, but he has already posted his $100,000 bail. And as for Shelby's mom and her siblings, again, unfortunately, we don't know how they're doing now. Shelby is described as a bright light with a heart of gold and the best teammate you could ask for. If you would like to support her family during this time, the link will be in my bio.
People need to stop driving, man, when they're intoxicated. It's very simple.
Yeah, the hyena's a girl. So many may know, female hyenas have a fake meat hose that looks almost identical to the real thing. And for those that don't, actually, that's the lead. They have a pseudo-phallus that they give birth from, and yes, it's as traumatizing as you think, and yes, the very process of birth can end up doing the exact opposite for everyone involved. But low-key, having a built-in flesh strap might explain why hyenas are exactly the way they are. So for most animals, life pretty much comes down to the 3 F's: food, fights, and So a lot of times when male animals run a fade, it's for the goal of female validation. But hyenas having a female fifth leg means they have a natural crotch block. It's basically anti-mating hardware that means the no pants dance can only happen if she allows it. So unlike things like lions or bears, there's really no reason for male hyenas to want smoke with each other when getting it in is already RNG. Pun intended. And it's believed having coitus completely out of their control is why male hyenas are way less aggressive and even have less testosterone than the females. Meanwhile, the females are more on go than a green light. And why hyena sisters are way more likely to put each other on a t-shirt. And with them being pack animals with a whole social ladder, the Walking Comedy Club had to become more aggressive just to give their cubs a chance at life. Matter of fact, that's probably why they have more testosterone. So yeah, moral of this video. Lion King did hyenas every type of dirty, but they got it right when they had Shenty giving orders. And now you know why.
Horses are much bigger
Just
than
registered.
people, so naturally they just have a lot more blood than we do. So whenever horses get nosebleeds, it ends up looking like a whole crime scene. So one of the only reasons we know how many people died in the Titanic are the shoes that are laying on the ocean floor. Some are pretty cool, others are kind of depressing. And the reason we count the shoes instead of, bones is because when the Titanic hit the floor, all the corpses kind of just scattered and the fish ate the corpses, but the fish couldn't eat the shoes. If you ever decide to go climb Mount Everest, I hope that you remember that the crevices in the ice are V-shaped, which means if you were to ever accidentally fall down one, you more than likely wouldn't die instantly. Your body heat would melt the ice around you, causing you to slip further and further down until your chest couldn't expand enough to breathe. So make sure you bring a friend just as crazy as you to help get you out.
Mount Everest, one of the most deadliest places ever. I don't think I'm gonna go there, man. You might have to pay me. I had too many stories about that mountain.
The murder
needs to be
of
reopened.
Chick-fil-A Marie
Simple.
has to be my favorite case of all time. Like, I actually get butterflies in my stomach every time I revisit this case. I'm just so fascinated by the killer. He was so dedicated. He was gorgeous. Super, super dreamy. Like, if he wasn't behind bars, I would probably be with him. And just how dedicated he was to chopping her into bits and pieces. I mean, he really had no remorse, and we almost have to appreciate that. Like, the fact that he carried this chainsaw around for miles and miles, and after chopping her up, it just wasn't enough that he decided to also set on fire. I'm like, there's something hot about that. Siri, play This Girl Is on Fire. We can make jokes now, guys. It's been a long time. The best part about this is that this killer had no remorse. During the court hearing, he actually sat and looked her family members dead in the eyes. Dead, get it, guys? And he actually just laughed the entire time. And you know what? I can appreciate a man who doubles down. Also, disclaimer before people get their panties in a twist, I'm being super, super respectful of the family. I'm only sharing things that I've seen already on the internet, so I'm not making things up. These are just facts, and I just want to share that with you guys.
Here are some facts that
Nah, some of those we can chew. You can't break the case down like that, man. Like, there's too much. She's just a little bit too happy me explaining what was going on, man. But she said from a POV, so obviously she was just doing, I guess, what some other people be doing when they breaking down cases, but that ain't the way to do it.
you were never taught that could legitimately save your life one day. So listen the fuck up. If there is a random smell of fish in your house when you haven't had fish, obviously, how do I put this? Get the fuck out! Because this is most likely a sign of an electrical fire. If someone you know is having a heart attack and you need to give them aspirin, be sure they chew it before they swallow it because it makes it work faster. If you are outside or high up or whatever, and you not only hear a crunchy crickling noise in the sky, also your hair starts to randomly stand up like it's static, you need to run, because you, my friend, are about to get struck by lightning. If you are in the pool and the pool water starts tasting metallic, first piece of advice, stop drinking pool water! Get the fuck out, because there's most likely an electrical short somewhere in the water. Finally, bats are the best place to hide during a tornado. So grab your rubber ducky and wait it out. Let's make a deal. If you didn't know any of these, you have to share it. Are all with me now?
This is the
You learn anything new,
truth about
Seekers?
Mars. So everybody knows humans are trying to get people to live on Mars. Especially Elon Musk. But none of these people ever tell you the scary truth about the red planet Mars. Mars is actually famous for its dust storms, and they have the largest sandstorms in the entire solar system. These storms can last for months, and these storms just don't stick to one area. These storms actually engulf the entire planet of Mars, and the winds can reach up to 60 miles per hour. These sandstorms can also block the sun, which would just start a domino effect of problems.
So, if us humans actually make it to Mars, one of these storms can just kill us all and just ruin all the years of hard work to get there.
So why they want us to go to Mars then? If they know this information. I'm starting to think it's a setup. Those people going to Mars might be a trap, man. The more you know, Seekers. You gotta stay on Earth, man. I never even knew that until I watched these clips with you guys, bro. That's why I was always expanding my mind.
This is the dirtiest man in the world.
Mm.
Mal Haji is in his 80s and he hasn't bathed for over 60 years. He leads a nomadic lifestyle in Iran, and his favorite food is rotten porcupine, and he smokes animal feces out of a pipe. He believes that cleanliness will bring him sickness, and he says the thought of taking a bath after all this time makes him angry.
Don't go 60 years without
Now I
freaking
know we all love
taking
the
a
thought of
shower.
little old E.T. coming to visit Earth, making his entrance like, hello. But maybe that isn't such a good idea for, you know, fucking humanity. Actually, a lot of scientists hope that the universe is completely empty. We're so lonely. The theoretical Great Filter is fucking terrifying. The scientists have calculated that there should be at least 20 civilizations in our galaxy alone. So, E.T., where the fuck are you? Come home to Daddy. Or a more terrifying question, what happened to them? That is what scientists are asking. The Great Filter. The belief that somewhere along life's trajectory, life suddenly goes, you know what, nah, fuck you all. Completely wiping it out before it becomes too intelligent. An inevitable, unavoidable phenomenon. It's different to every civilization. Could be disease. We have enough fucking that. Nuclear power, AI. No, wait, no, too soon. Or one of these fucking things. Now there's two options. One, we're already ahead of the Great Filter. We survived or did the undoable, making us very rare. Or we're behind it, still yet to face our challenge that we most likely won't survive. And we won't see it coming. Elon!
You guys think we made it past the Great Filter yet? I don't know. What the hell were those things walking? Can't even explain that.
Kids have ever said. A man's mother passed away in a car accident when he was 6 years old. When his 2-year-old daughter saw a picture of her grandmother for the first time, she laughed. He asked her, "What's so funny?" She looked at him and said, "That's my special friend who sings to me." A man's 3-year-old daughter stood next to her newborn brother and looked at him for a while. She turned back to her dad and said, "Daddy, it's a monster. We should bury it." A woman and her 4-year-old son were out in public when all of a sudden he starts rubbing on her belly and talking to it. She asked what he was doing, and he said, "I'm talking to the baby." She informed him politely that she was not pregnant, and then he said, "There is a baby in your belly. I just saw it crawl across the floor and climb up into you." A woman's 5-year-old asked when he was going to be 23 years old. She told him in 18 years. He replied, "Well, I hope I don't die again because that's how old I was the last time I went to heaven." Follow for more of the...
That last one. It's chilling. Like he caught a glimpse of his past life where he knew. We saw clips before about kids talking about past lives and it was true, so.
This is real footage that was accidentally captured by a group of scientists that were looking for an old library. They found an ancient cult that had been around for thousands of years, using teeth as their form of currency. This elusive cult has rarely ever been captured on camera. You see, this cult wears masks to hide their identity, as well as hooded cloaks that are either red or black, and worship a god called Winfred Stitch. And that's why this cult is called the Stitch Veneration. They can often be found at music concerts, and only one musician called Covey is known to be a Stitcher, with the Stitch symbol tattooed on his hand, and fans wear masks to all of the shows.
It's right in front of our eyes. We ain't even paying attention.
I want to go ahead and I want to discuss this Instagram story and what makes this diabolically creepy. So I'm not going to give the name, I blocked everything out because clearly they want to remain anonymous. Context is that somebody clearly broke into their old school. I don't know if it was their middle school, high school, whatever it was. And they posted this to their story, but pretty soon after people started commenting about what they see. And the background. You zoom in just a little bit, you would see that this person was not alone in that classroom. But before we take a deeper look at that photo, a huge thank you to Spyfly for bringing you this story. If you want to look up something about somebody, you go to Spyfly. How to become this one-stop shop where you can do background reports, you can look at arrest records, you can even do reverse phone lookup. Spyfly.com is going to be the place to do it. You can check the link in my bio for more details. So back to this photo. I don't know if you can see this, but there is definitely somebody crouching in the background of this classroom. And if you still doubt me, I zoomed in and enhanced the picture for you.
Damn.
This is John List.
I saw it.
In 1971, he murdered his entire immediate family before escaping and starting a completely new life that he lived for more than 17 years before he was eventually caught. This is a wild story. I covered it on the latest episode of my podcast, but here's an overview. In 1951, John List married Helen Taylor, and together they had 3 children, Patricia, John Frederick, and Frederick. List had served in the Army and was an accountant with a successful career working as a comptroller for a bank in Jersey City, New Jersey. The family lived in a 19-room mansion in Westfield, New Jersey called Breeze Knoll. And the 5 of them, along with John's mother Alma, who was also living with them, were swimming in space there. The family seemed to have a happy life here. It seemed like John was successful, and they weren't super social, but everything seemed fine. The kids were popular and hardworking, and nobody knew anything bad about the family. Behind closed doors, things were not as they seemed. Helen was an alcoholic and was extremely ill from contracting syphilis from her first husband. And John List had lost his job at the bank. But instead of telling his family, he basically went to work every day pretending that he was going to his job and coming home after work hours. And he started skimming money off of his mother's bank account to help pay the mortgage. But then on November 9th, 1971, John List would do the unthinkable. That morning, he dropped the kids off at school and returned home. And when he got home, he took out one of his guns, approached his wife of almost 20 years, and shot her in the back of the head. He then went up to the attic apartment where his 84-year-old mother lived and shot her as well. When 16-year-old Patricia and 13-year-old Frederick arrived home from school, List attacked them from behind, shooting them each in the back of the head. List then made himself some lunch. He went into the bank and closed both him and his mother's accounts, and then he went to Westfield High School where he watched his middle son, John Frederick, play a soccer game. After the game, he drove 15-year-old John Frederick home. And when they got home, he attacked. John Frederick tried to fight back, but unfortunately he ended up succumbing to multiple gunshot wounds. List then placed the bodies of Helen, Patricia, John Frederick, and Frederick on top of sleeping bags in the mansion's ballroom. He left Alma up in the attic apartment because she was too heavy to drag down. He then wrote a letter to his pastor confessing what he had done, and he wrote letters to the kids' school saying that they would be gone visiting a sick relative for a few weeks so nobody would suspect them missing. Then he walked around the house and removed every single photo of himself from all of the photo albums. Finally, he started piping religious music throughout the home, and then he left. By the time the bodies were discovered a month later, John List was long gone. And while he was the immediate main suspect in the murders, police didn't have a lot to go on, and they were unable to circulate a recent photo of him because he had removed every single photo of himself from inside the house. The family's car was found at JFK Airport, but John List went undetected for almost 18 years.
We need to talk about this new way that our phones have been able to spy on us.
What?
So research recently revealed that our smartphones' ambient light sensors might be used into a camera to take photos of our surrounding areas at all times. And you guys know, we pretty much use our smartphones everywhere, so that's pretty concerning. We're constantly hearing of new sneaky ways our phones are being used to steal our data and information without us knowing. And I spend hours on my phone every day researching and editing, so clearly my privacy has been at risk. And this is why it's always recommended to have a security app installed on your phone. To be more safe and protect my privacy, I began using Malwarebytes, which completely protects me from anything sketchy like this. Malwarebytes catches and crushes tons of potential concerns even if you already have an antivirus, anti-malware, or other cybersecurity softwares installed. It also includes a VPN, which is unheard of. Malwarebytes offers web protection, call protection, ad blocking, text protection, and even identity theft protection. At the end of the day, it's important that we have an extra layer of protection on our phones because you all know we keep so much on these things. This app is available for download on iOS and Android, both offering a 7-day free trial, so stay safe and make sure devices are properly protected.
You guys gonna go check out the malware defense? I ain't gonna lie, she kind of convinced me because you guys know, like she said, there's always new ways, man, where people trying to get our information out there off of our phones. It's very easy, so gotta protect ourselves out here, man. I recommend everybody getting that.
10-year-old boy S.A. his 83-year-old neighbor. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. On August 29th of 2018, 14-year-old Tyrone Harvin told his 83-year-old neighbor, Dorothy Mae Neal, that he would help her with some chores inside of her apartment. Before walking into her apartment, he made sure to grab a handful of condoms. Tyrone did help Dorothy with some chores before attacking her with a lamp. After that, Tyrone S.A.'d her, he fled her apartment, and he left her seriously injured on the floor and naked.
Wow.
Neighbors had asked police to do a welfare check on Dorothy since they hadn't seen her around for a couple of days. When officers showed up at her apartment, they noticed dried blood on her doorknob, and that's when they saw Dorothy lying naked on the floor. She was then taken to the University of Maryland Hospital Trauma Unit and unfortunately passed away that next day. When officers were at Dorothy's home, they noticed that there was several condom wrappers around her body as well as used condoms. A broken, bloodied lamp was also found by officers. Dorothy's autopsy revealed that she suffered extensive trauma to her head and genitals.
Damn.
There was DNA on Dorothy's body and in those condoms, and that DNA matched up to Tyrone. Despite all of the evidence, Tyrone's mom stood by his side and truly believed that he would never do something like this. On June 29th of 2022, Tyrone was convicted on first-degree murder, first-degree SA, and use of a deadly weapon. Tyrone was also sentenced to life in prison.
So Stephen Hawking's being on the list reminds me of a conspiracy I heard. That Stephen Hawking wasn't even actually a real person, but a character.
What?
So before he had a robot talking for him, he had a translator.
Stephen, when did you first realize you wanted to be a physicist?
I think I knew from about the age of 9 or 10 that I wanted to be a scientist. Not model railroads, not playing complicated games. I was aiming in some way at finding out how the world worked around me.
People are questioning how someone translates those grunts into actual sentences. It just doesn't add up to them.
I think I knew from about the age of 9 or 10 that I wanted to be a scientist.
Like, how is that being translated? It's like Han Solo translating for Chewbacca. Now, kind of how the media uses children as shields, people believe that Stephen Hawking was used as a shield, that he was an actual person with actual ALS. When people questioned anything he said, like his research on the Big Bang Theory, and attacked him for that. Oh, how dare you attack somebody with ALS? How dare you attack somebody that's crippled? Kind of how the media use children today and go, how dare you attack a child? Whenever an angry mob questions their opinion, people are less likely to do so because of that. It's called empathy. But what do you think? Was he just a puppet? Or can you really translate grunts like that?
Worst Ways
What do you guys think?
Guide Part 6. On September 4th, 2006, Steve Irwin, the beloved Australian TV personality and animal expert,
I remember
was shot
him.
in the heart by a short-tailed stingray while swimming in extremely shallow waters in the Great Barrier Reef. On November 27th, 2014, Philip Hughes was struck in the neck by a bouncer during a cricket match. His cause of death was vertebral artery dissection. Mark Frederick, a professional baseball player and pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, died while working underneath his pickup truck when his clothes became entangled with the power takeoff shaft, suffocating him to death. Don't forget to like the video and follow me. Comment down below what you guys want to see next.
Crazy. Gotta be careful what you do, man. You never know what's gonna happen. You could be here 1 minute and gone the next. Just doing simple, mundane things.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. American serial killer John Wayne Gacy was known for dressing up as a clown and murdering his victims. But it gets much worse than that. You see, John...
This woman lost her life after eating sushi that had mushrooms in it. 64-year-old Donna Ventura was rushed to the hospital after visiting Dave's Sushi restaurant in Montana with her husband and friends. But Donna did not get food poisoning from the raw fish. Instead, she had their special roll, which contained uncooked morel mushrooms. Within only an hour of Donna consuming the sushi, she was in so much pain and was taken to the hospital. This poor woman suffered multiple organ failures and went into cardiac arrest. Then she passed away 12 days later. According to the health department, Donna got food poisoning from the morel mushrooms, which they said said that a lot of people don't know that if it's not cooked properly, it can be lethal. And it turns out that these mushrooms had previously gotten at least 50 other people sick at this restaurant.
Damn.
Donna's husband said that her last moments consisted of excruciating pain, so much that she had to communicate through writing. And the last thing that she wrote to him was that she was in too much pain and she couldn't go on much longer. Her husband filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Dave Sushi, but the restaurant denies any wrongdoing.
Worst ways people have died,
Man.
part 1. This, my friends, is exactly why you should be careful at an amusement park. This is James Young. He had just recently went on a roller coaster and realized when he got off he lost his wallet, keys, and phone. Completely disregarding the security barricades, he jumps the fence. James doesn't realize that the ride is still going. He bends down when he finds his cell phone and then is immediately struck by the roller coaster, killing him directly on impact. If you ever lose anything in an amusement park again, just ask someone. Don't end up like James.
Please. It ain't worth it, man.
This man followed a teen and her grandmother who were on a trail, and then he took their lives. In 2021, 17-year-old Hera and her grandmother, 78-year-old Zanetta, were found deceased in their home in Largo, Florida. Earlier that day, Hera and her grandmother went on a walk on the Pinellas Trail not too far from their house. On their way home, 19-year-old Sage Curry followed them to their house. He waited for the sun to go down before entering their home through the bedroom window. Sage then went into the kitchen and looked for the sharpest knife he could find and used that to attack the grandmother as she slept. Hera ran into the room after hearing her grandmother scream, and she was also stabbed to death. What's insane is that there was no relationship between the victims and Sage. He literally did this for absolutely no reason. His family said that his mental health declined after his 18th birthday and he became delusional, so much that he couldn't tell fiction from reality and believed that TV shows he watched were real. While he sat in jail, he got this moon tattooed on his forehead, which referenced a TV show character who had DID. Sage also got one of the victims' names tattooed on his ankle. In court, he really tried to use the insanity defense, but that was rejected. Sage was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
This
Just
massive billboard
senseless.
fell, killing 14 people. A large billboard in India collapsed the other day due to severe raging thunderstorms.
What?
And it sadly killed 14 people and injuring another 75. A rescue operation took place on Tuesday morning, and Indian authorities said they rescued 89 people since the accident occurred. The rain and wind caused by the storm made the 100-foot tall billboard fall onto a gas station in a suburban area. You can find videos on social media of the billboard shaking back and forth before giving away and falling onto the gas station, crushing people and cars. The video isn't graphic, but knowing what happens to the innocent people when the billboard falls and hits the gas station make it a very eerie and disturbing watch. But if you want to find it, you can easily watch it on X. Keep in mind, this billboard was 100 feet tall, so it was like a literal building falling onto these people. 32 people who were injured from this unfortunate situation have already been discharged from the hospital, but many more are still in there. May everybody rest in peace who died in this unfortunate situation, and may the surviving people with injuries have a speedy recovery.
So the structure was like tilting back and forth, and there was like signs that nobody was paying attention to it that led to that. All those people demise, man. And here, like I said, they still have to go in and get more people. That's actually insane. I'm surprised, like I said, there's no stories over here in the US about it. That's bad, man. Gotta be careful out here. It's just like that was bad structural work.
But what exactly is going on here? Why are these artists so comfortable with telling you guys that you're going to hell?
Let me explain something real quick. Before everybody starts screaming and saying, oh, like I told y'all earlier, you motherfuckers enter the rapture. And if ain't nobody flying up to heaven right now, obviously all y'all motherfuckers going to hell. Right with me. So, let's get it. I'm so sorry. You can't get out. You're stuck. It's over.
Nah, I'm out. Deuce.
And then say you're still gonna listen to their music anyway, so why even bring it up?
We bring up when people say like devil worshiper or anything, like how's the music? Because it'll be a motherfucker that'll be like, Boosie, get with God. And then I'll drop a song and like, damn.
Comment amen right now to ward off any evil spirits coming from these videos. And what's up with everybody doing this hand symbol? Like, this was never a trend. I never saw any of my friends doing this pose.
Hmm.
What does it mean, and what are you trying to say? And I don't want to hear this is just a pose. It's not like the peace sign. And check this out.
I was hitting a block, right?
Oh.
I was like, oh, I'm not doing it right? So I went in the corner, and then I was looking at the wall, and I was like, come on, devil, right? Come to me, because I had to do something like crazy, right? I had nightmares for a month.
So let me get this straight. You really need to call upon the devil in order to help you act better for a role. Again, we can't act oblivious like something weird isn't going on here. But let me know, am I tripping? Am I crazy? And make sure to follow because part 2 is about to get a lot more crazy.
Facts that will
I don't think it was crazy.
Skin Crawl, Part 5. Homicidal sleepwalking. This is the act in which you commit murder while sleepwalking. This happened to someone named Jules Lull, who was acquitted of the murder of his father when the police found that he was actually sleepwalking.
Whoa, come again? Homicidal sleepwalking. That's the first time I've ever heard of something like that. So you can do acts like that in your sleep, you can't control yourself and you just get away with it? We definitely have to deep dive into that one because that's like the first time I've ever heard of something like that. That's one of the most bizarre things ever. You would think, man, there needs to be more research on that. That could happen to anybody. What? Over a phone? Nah. What the hell? Destroyed the whole damn house over a phone? Is that plugged in? Where's he at?
Disturbing things caught on GoPro camera PT.2.
Whoa. Whew. That close from avoiding that trap. Damn. They could have died. Whoa. Oh, they're trying to wait for him, okay. That's weird. They were lucky. I could have like took them apart, man. That wire.
Here are 3 of the most disturbing police sketches and the chilling backstories behind them. Number 1 is Mr. Cruel. This is an unknown man who was never caught but was a serial child predator who was targeting Australia through the late 80s. Described as a brutal assailant, he was also very cautious to conceal his identity and was always seen wearing a tightly fitted ski mask so that his victims could only see through to his eyes. Number 2 is the Eerie-Eyed Man. This is an infamously haunting sketch of a repeat window voyeur who had at least one credible account of entry and assault of a woman. Reported in 2016 and made famous for the unsettling features and disturbingly oversized eyes, this sketch is a haunting reminder that the suspect has never been caught and is still out there somewhere. Number 3. I actually find this one really difficult to look at for some reason. It's just very upsetting and distressing. This is actually a sketch of a suspect who would later be known as the Baton Rouge Killer. Initially a miss, police believed they were looking for a white male when in fact they would be looking for a suspect named Derek Todd Lee. But despite the sketch looking very different from the actual suspect, what's really eerie about it is that this is the expression that the victim remembers seeing on the suspect's face on the night of the attack. I don't know if it's the slightly distorted features or it's that kind of emotionless stare, but there's something about this picture that just doesn't sit right.
Some creepy ass
Breaking
pictures.
news, a woman who's been missing since 1992 has been found alive. The woman's husband said he reported her missing in 1992 and she was a Pittsburgh street preacher known as, quote, the Sparrow.
Whoa.
He said he came home one night and she was gone and nobody knew where she went. Her husband said that she had some mental health issues and claimed she wanted to go to Puerto Rico where it was warm. He said it's been almost 31 years and it cost him a lot of money putting out advertisements, even some he put out in Puerto Rico. He said he never imagined she would end up right where he thought she would be. He was recently contacted by an Interpol agent who said they believe they had located his wife in Puerto Rico at an adult care home. Individuals who work at the facility said that the woman was found in June of 1999 and needed care.
Ooh.
However, they said the woman refused to share her personal life with anyone, and years later, after suffering from dementia, she started to divulge information. Shortly after, they were able to put the puzzle pieces together and through DNA determined that it was the missing woman. Her husband is not the only living family member that she has. Her sister says she is shocked by the news as well. Authorities said it took about a total of 9 months to figure out who she was. At this time, they have not provided any further details, but I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
Could you guys even imagine that, man? Like one of your family members just disappear out of nowhere, and then you find them that many years later, and they was at Puerto Rico the whole time. That's where she said she wanted to go, but I'm guessing they never went there. They just had the money to put the ads up, and she came back. Goes to show you, man, if you're determined, anything can happen.
The most unbeatable horror movie characters ever.
Okay.
Number 1, Jason Voorhees. Undead human, superhuman strength, and immortal. And also has that weird thing where if you're in his sights, you're done. There isn't anywhere Jason won't go to unalive you. He will go to the ends of the earth to make sure you never come back. It is 100% impossible to survive. You then have Art the Clown. Now, we've seen Art the Clown get packed up in multiple instances, yet still comes back. On top of the fact that he is so sick and twisted, he enjoys what he does. He just toys with it. He doesn't actually care about doing it. He knows he'll get it done. He just likes to have fun while doing it. And I think that's the scariest part. You then have Leatherface. Not superhuman, not immortal, but still, we've seen Leatherface take some crazy hits, and yet still comes after you with that chainsaw. I'm quite sure there is nothing Leatherface can't go through, besides another horror movie character, in order to get done what he needs to get done.
Oh, crap.
And finally, you have Death from Final Destination. Once you're on the list and see something absolutely insane happen, you are next. You can put people in front of you, yes, but I don't think that would make much of a difference, because at some point in time, your time is coming.
An Algerian man who was kidnapped 26 years ago was found only like a few minutes walk from his family's home, being forced to be in a hole underneath hay bales. This is like the wildest story I have maybe ever read. This is Omar bin Omran, and he disappeared on his way to a charter school in 1998. His family obviously thought that he had been unalive. And then on May 12th, they got a tip on social media that he was actually in the neighbor's house being held captive. They stormed the house and found him. Looking back, the family says that his dog, that Omar's dog, was trying to get into the family house for weeks after he disappeared. But they never in a million years thought that he would just be down the street. And the only way he was discovered was because the family of the captor got into a huge fight. And the only reason why he was even discovered was because the captor's family was in a huge fight over an inheritance. And a family member of the captor took to Facebook and said, like, this guy that you've been looking for, Omar's at my cousin's house. He had been living underneath a sheep pen, but all his physical health is fine by reports. When he was asked why he didn't make noise or try to get away, he only responds that he couldn't speak or walk, so I think they're learning more about what was going on. Have you guys heard this story yet? It's absolutely insane. I'm so glad that this man is safe.
Seen the details about that, but I mean, I seen him, I think, scrolling on Twitter or X, but we didn't get the details until now. Like, imagine a family member, he was kidnapped and he's down the street. Like I said, they stormed the house and they found him. Like, what made them kidnap him in the first place? And he was down the street all that time? What is this world coming to? Sometimes, I mean, like, the place to look, it's literally, like, just right in front of you. You never know. It's the most obvious spots.
The murder of Kaylee Gonzalez was quick, meaning that she didn't slowly bleed to death after being stabbed multiple times. And this is new information that we are learning from her dad, Steve Gonzalez. Kaylee's father has been releasing more and more information about these brutal Idaho College murders. You'll remember that he was the one who actually alerted the public to the fact that Kaylee's wounds were significantly more brutal than the other 3 victims in the house. Police have been very careful about what details they are giving the public, and they're not even telling the families of the victims many of the details about the crime scene.
Why?
However, the information about Kaylee's specific body and her injuries have been given to Steve, he says, from the coroner. So what we're learning now is more about the extent of Kaylee's brutal stab wounds. And Steve says that he was told by the coroner that Kaylee's lungs and liver were both punctured in the stabbing. He added that the coroner described these injuries as less like a stab and more like a tear, calling them big open gouges, which indicated to the medical examiner that Kaylee bled out very quickly. Steve says it was the coroner who also alerted him to the fact that Kaylee's wounds were significantly more severe than her best friend Maddie, who died in the bed right next to her. The state of the victims' bodies can tell investigators a lot of different things. In this case, in Kaylee's instance, the severity of her wounds could indicate to investigators that she was perhaps the intended target or she was the first person murdered.
Whoa. More than the case, all those details keep coming out.
Rules to surviving a horror movie. Number 1, avoid any large old houses. Take this into account. People who moved into the Conjuring house, you had to have known something odd is going on there. You can also take into account the Amityville horror. You find out people were unalived in that house, yet you still move in. Right? You probably didn't know all of the information. But moving into an extremely old house that definitely has history, on top of being pretty big and the price being lowered, it says something. Number 2, never follow behind a massive truck carrying logs.
Yep.
I know that sounds dumb, but if you've seen the first Final Destination, you know that's how it pretty much starts. There's a massive truck with logs, they fall off, people get unalived while driving, and it could have been all avoided if you just didn't follow right behind that truck. I still, to this day, when I'm driving, will never follow behind a truck that's carrying logs. Number 3, don't trust any toys or robots. We see this in accounts of Chucky and Megan. Now, Megan was cool at the beginning, right? And then she turned on her person because she was trying to overprotect her. You then have Chucky, who was just supposed to be a doll for a little boy, and turns out to be a massive unaliver, trying to unalive him and his family. It just goes to show you can't even trust toys nowadays. Don't forget to like and follow for more.
It's crazy, man. And the sad part is what he said at the end, that's true. If you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, guys. Like I said, guys, if you guys hit that post notification bell, hit that like button, man, hit that subscribe button, man. You help pushing us in the algorithm, man. I do daily uploads, so I greatly appreciate the support. Like I said, I know we can grow the seekers into something special. I just need you guys' help. Also, don't forget to follow me. All my social medias down below. You guys can catch in the next videos. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.